Hi there, it's Bert, and I just wanted to do a little hangout to talk a bit about merchant account services and payment processing for high-risk merchant accounts and business startups. And it's a real stumbling block if you're just getting going. And basically, if you're starting up, if you're anything outside the norm, then you're going to be considered high risk, and it may be incredibly difficult. It may be a real challenge for you to actually find a payment processor and a merchant account that you can actually trust and use. And of course, that's absolutely critical to any business, and especially if you're doing a business online, you have to be able to take credit cards. You have to be able to do all your payment processing seamlessly and in the background. And of course, you have to have someone you can trust. You have to have someone who can resolve chargebacks and differences equitably. And you have to have someone that you can actually talk to, that you can pick up the phone, that you can speak to customer service, or you can speak to technical support, or you can speak to someone about any issue that you might be having. Because if your payment processing goes south, then of course you can't make any money. And if you can't make any money, then you can't possibly be in business. So first and foremost, you have to have a relationship that you can build upon with whoever your payment processor is going to be. And switching processors downstream is actually a really, really big problem, because your existing processing may have proprietary software. They may have proprietary methods and techniques that you actually have to adhere to just so you can get qualified. And switching downstream means that all that stuff is going to go out the window. And that might also mean that your customer data goes out the window as well. Now, that's not usually the case, so don't let me completely scare you, frighten you off, but your customer data might be at risk. And when everything is said and done, your customer list is the most valuable asset your business is going to have. So when you're applying for, and when you're considering, and when you're looking for a payment processor, you have to make sure that this is someone that you're going to be able to live with for the foreseeable future. And as your relationship grows and builds with the company that's providing the merchant accounts and the payment processing for you, then you can negotiate your the fees and charges that you're being that you're being charged. And you can also negotiate things like the number of chargebacks, the number of disputes, all those things that go into that go into considering your business venture high risk. So the other thing I want to say is that when you're actually going out and looking for payment processing, make sure that the people who, or the companies that you're talking to and you're dealing with, aren't going to be holding you over the barrel because you're considered high risk. Just because you're considered high risk doesn't mean that you have zero options. It just means that your options are going to be relatively limited. And if your business is successful, it won't be considered high risk very long. If you can show that that your business is stable, that you're generating consistent incomes, that you're generating that you have few chargebacks and few disputes, then you'll quickly move outside the category of high risk. And like I said, make sure that when you're negotiating for these services, that you're not led to believe, or that you have in the back of your mind that this is your only option. You're going to take whatever you're going to get, because the fees that you're going to be charged can have a significant impact on your bottom line, and they can have a significant impact on your profitability. If your margins are slim, that becomes even more critical. So do your homework. Make sure that the company that you're going after or speaking to is trustworthy. They have real reviews. They're well established. They've been around. There are real people on the other end of the phone. That they're understanding of your situation. That they're compassionate about the challenges that you might be facing, and that they're willing to work with you as you go forward. And if you put all those things out in front of them when you start the conversation, then when you return to that conversation farther, in a few months or maybe half a year, then you'll have something to stand on. You'll have something to refer back to. And if you set out if you tell these people, or tell these companies what it is you hope to achieve, how you hope to achieve it, and when you hope to achieve those things, then that can be that time frame, or those time frames can be the time within which you can then reduce the rates and fees that you're being charged, or you can at least begin to have that conversation. So, like all things, do your homework. Don't be afraid to describe your situation exactly and truthfully and honestly, because of course these people deal with relatively high risk merchant accounts all the time. So don't don't think that you're the only one facing that particular challenge. So that being said, make sure that you don't go with the cheapest, don't go with the most expensive. You don't need to use the big players. You don't need to use the smallest players. But if you're diligent, you'll find someone that you can work with that's gonna be a very good match for your business. And that's something else that's really critical. There are payment processors who operate in particular niches, and if you can find and get hooked up with one of those processors or payment processing companies that operates or knows your niche, then you're going to be that much better off. So I hope you've had something. I hope you've got something out of this little hangout. And if you have any questions, then fire them off to me, and I'll answer them as best I can. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again.